Welcome back, everyone, for another round of Minecraft Modded. We are here in my new workshop area, or what's going to be my storage area. And you see I've done a not so pretty starting storage. I also have an ender chest here and in the tower base, so I can easily transfer stuff. But this is not what I want it to look like. And last episode, I tried two different storage mods. One was a little bit lacking on descriptions on the mod page, like it told how certain things interacted, but nothing about recipes. And after digging through multiple sites, 3 different sites said the same recipes, and half of those recipes didn't work. So the other mod that worked, all the recipes were there on the mod page, every one of them worked better from a storage only standpoint, meaning I could take a double chest that would provide the same amount of storage as these 4 double chests, but did not do anything for sorting. And that's really where the big hang-up's going to be for me, because I have a way to do a storage sorting system. I've done it in the past, but it's expensive in terms of material. More importantly, it's very time-consuming. That's really the big thing. I want to do something simpler and modded. And so I am back to the storage drawers mod, the one that gave me so many problems. And I went into creative mode. The upgrade recipes are there. Still couldn't make them because the recipes online were wrong. I ended up having to go and get the Just Enough Items mod, which I'll link below. So if you have similar problems, you can get it. Basically, lets you see all the different recipes on the side when you're looking up stuff. And I was able to look up the recipes for these upgrades and see that they were different from what everybody was saying online. So now that I've got it sorted out, we're actually going to play around with it a bit today and see what we can do with this area to make it a little bit easier to sort my items. So first we need to make a storage drawer, which means you have a chest. We throw that on there. I'm going with oak, 1 by 1, because I want to focus on one item. The idea being each one's going to be a sequence into a central chest, because you can't access these like a normal chest where it's like, oh yeah, plop that down and I right click and it, just opens up and I grab stuff out. It doesn't work that way. So my plan is to use these as the storage medium and the sorting mechanism for a normal chest that will sit up top with a hopper feeding into it. So we're basically going to have something like this, where that feeds out into the regular chest, and above the chest in view, not mean to do that, we'd have like a set of stairs so it covers up. We'd have a little display with what item it is, and then we'd have this that's going to contain the item. So we'd have to put in something. I've got plenty of cobblestone, so we'll just go and put I've still gotta get used to this. There we go. So it's 61 in there, and you see it's already filling into there, so no problem with the hopper. But now we need a way to sort stuff into it. And so that's where the drawer controller comes into play. The description, after getting to dig into it a little bit more, is basically if I was to have my drop down coming from there, anything within 12 blocks, and this is adjustable in the configuration file, because I went back and looked at the configuration file, make sure I didn't have the recipes for upgrades disabled. So if let's move that down. If I had that, and I put chest, up above. Put this set right there. We go. I did this, and then I had a chest up above. So I'm feeding stuff into the chest upstairs. It's feeding through hoppers down to here, or just straight to this. What this will do is instead look for any of these in a 12 block radius, or whatever you adjust it to in your config. You can go up to 50. I think is what I saw in the config. 50 blocks. So it might add some lag, but that's what the slave is for, to extend the range out so you can keep doing it. So I could have that feeding down to a controller here, and then, say 12 blocks over slave, and then 12 blocks further down the slave, and have that to basically handle all the sorting. So I have cobblestone there. Let's get some cobblestone out of my big storage pile I've been creating over here. We're just gonna basically, we're gonna first let me get an empty hand, because you have to do that. So we have nothing there. We have this. And I'm not sure how this is going to happen when it sorts without having one in there. So that's why I'm experimenting with this, because ideally, and yeah, take that out for a moment. Ideally, go in here, we do this. That's going to sort there. And then it's going to sit there and say that needs to go to this one, which it should be. That's the controller. Supposed to be doing that. It's not going into the controller. Okay. Oh, and I did not get all of my cobblestone back when I broke that. So I got one cobblestone out when I broke that storage drawer. I didn't get anything else. So that's a problem too. Last time I was trying to do a cross pattern like that with the sticks, but that's not it. That's what's wrong. The correct pattern is 3 on top, 3 on the bottom, and 1 on each side. And it increases storage by 32 times base value. So if that's a single stack, that's now 32 stacks right there. And again, I gotta remember to, be empty hand. This is why I want to have this feed into a chest like this, so I can have a point to access it. It may end up being a case I just have to do that and come up to it and be like, you know what? I want to have these like that, not even draining out, just having it draining into it. Well, we'll try this. We'll go that route, so it's not coming out of it. And let's see what happens with this. All right, so right click, just normal, 64 in there. I should be able to carry 32 stacks in there with the 1 upgrade, which means if it's 32 times base value, that's 32. That's 64 stacks. That'd be 128. That's 192. And then whatever, 224 stacks total in this. So there we go. 1 chest on this side, 1 chest on that side, and single item, hopper feeding into the back of the drawers. If I do this, now it's working. What? I did that. I had it into the back of the drawer, the controller earlier, and it didn't work. Maybe it has to be physically touching, though I'm pretty sure I did move the controller here and tried it that way. It didn't work. So maybe it does have to be physically touching them, unless it is something to do with the storage expansion or the slave. Let's put this in there, and that works. So now the compacting drawer is supposed to do a special little trick, and this is probably where I was having problems before, where I was clicking on one of these and causing it to split something or mess something up with the compacting drawer. But what it's supposed to do is allow you to use any variation of a material that can be expanded and compressed into different forms. Example being, of course, given gold in the description. In this case, I'm going to show iron. So I have iron bars, iron nuggets, and blocks of iron. This can be compressed into these. These can be compressed into these and expanded in reverse. So if I go with this, and I just go, bam, okay. So that's showing 1 stage, 2 stage, 3 stage. So now I can place any of these in there, assuming I have the room for it. I might have to add, okay, there, that works. So it's not the top that I have to do that. So there we go. You have to target that specific drawer, but you see, it gives me basically the equivalent, auto converts. I put 5 blocks of iron in, but I have the equivalent to create up to 12. So it handles the conversion for you. That's not requiring anything with a forge or, furnace or anything like that. That is strictly just going into crafting table. So it's saving you a step there. Also saving you a step having to put the block of iron in there to get the iron ingots out and iron nuggets. So for certain materials, gold, iron, redstone even, things like that, this could be very useful to have the compacting drawer so you can have the different variations, and I can just come up here and be like, you know what, I want a stack, or single ones, or just be like, bam, I want a stack. There we go. So now I've come back, I'm like, bam, I'm assuming the whole right click to put a whole stack of items is because you're trying to dump stuff in very quickly, which this can help give you a very compressed storage system because you can have a lot of storage chests on a single wall. So I reloaded my game from backup, and this is all new, not pretty, it's not permanent. Eventually this is going to run out of the massive amount of fuel as well as the massive amount of nether brick I've got in there cooking. But eventually it's going to be a case of the same thing. It's going to come down here, and I need to get some nether brick and close that one up. It's going to come down here, it'll feed into the main controller, and then that's going to start feeding down through other parts. And hopefully, just with the storage upgrades, I'll be able to do enough to make it worthwhile. But it goes back to the idea being that I just go here, I do this, it dumps everything in. I just toss in whatever I've got from adventuring, same way I did in a previous game save. Come here, is sorting it all the way down here, which means that has a ton of cobblestone going in it, and I've added 4 upgrades right now. So if that's a single stack, that's 32, 64, 96, 128. So that's basically 2 double chests. That mod also means some interesting options for my storage system here that I was going to do for trade goods. So I have my own traders down here because I know there's a limited set of items I'm getting, and I'm not going to need huge amounts of storage for those. So that could be a case of actually building in a nice little setup for that using the little split 4 ways design containers, the storage drawers. So spruce or birch. I'm thinking birch. It's got a much better standout look to it. It'll probably end up being what I use all the way around, or I might just vary it up a bit. It's not so bad here with the torch rod in front, but once I adjust lighting, it'll probably have to change a bit. Each of these is supposed to hold 8 stacks per drawer. Basically, the single one holds 32 stacks. This is supposed to hold 8, but I know from before testing it out, it did not hold that full amount. And you know, I don't want to put that in there. We're going to put that here. And I'm thinking actually I'm going to possibly bring that down by 1 and see if that will be enough. Actually, you know what? No, I know what's going to happen. It's going to start with the closest one, and I'll just use that as like spares. There we go. Now it's working right. So I just need to give it time to let it drain enough of the items, and then I can basically... Well, it's stopping again. Oh, there it goes. Okay, so it's stopping because it went to that. And now, yes. So I think 16 different items should be enough. Again, this is not going to be something I'm just going to sit there and have it building up a massive amount of items in the long run. I mean, granted, it'd be nice to be able to see it. Maybe I can figure out how to do the storage indicator level thing. But at least for now, I've got a nice compact. If nothing else, if I don't use it for the other side, it's going to be useful for this. So, compacting drawer. We're going to shift click all of that. We're going to click there like that. There. Take that. Okay. That. Yeah. One drawback, you can't just open it up and throw everything in there, but it does work. So we've got melons and that, so I can go pop, and I don't have to go and worry about converting them now. So that's a time saver right there. That means I have all this stuff still going. Now, the reality is this also simplifies things like, say, the chicken farm, where I have sorting done by manually splitting rows between raw chicken and feathers. Also having a sorting thing that takes the eggs out. With this sort of thing, I could have just set up one of each, and then the one that I designate for eggs, which would be basically the leftover one, as a hopper that feeds out into the whole system for doing that. So it'd be one just to cover eggs because of that's the only other option. With the other ones having always chicken and feathers in it because I won't ever empty them out, and that will work. And I actually did have, when I adjusted this now, I took out one of the hoppers. That did mess up that a little bit, but hey, you know what? It's a work in progress. But now Again, I've got to remember open hand. That's how much I have there. How much I have there. Pulling in melon slices right now. We're over a stack, so not sure what was going on before with some of the other ones not holding more than a stack. This one is apparently holding more than a single stack like it's supposed to. It's supposed to hold like 128, I think. All right, so that's going to be it for this episode. First impression of this storage drawers mod was not very good because a lot of information on the ways certain drawers work and everything, but nothing about recipes. And 3 different sites had the same recipes, and the storage upgrades, all those did not work. So half of the recipes I found online for this were wrong. Thanks to Just Enough Items mod for saving this mod, basically making me have a reason to really dig into it again because it showed me what the recipes were that worked for the upgrades. So if you've enjoyed it, hit that like button. If you have any questions or any comments about methods with this mod, things like that, leave it in a comment below. And of course, hit subscribe if you haven't done so already. As always, I'm your host, Mr. Spicy. Thanks so much for watching. Be sure to keep it spicy this week, and I'll see you in the next video.